I will always remember when I was little playing outside with family and friends, not having a worry in the world, maybe except for what was for lunch later after I was done playing. Little did I know the money used to make our food had a big effect on society. First, I will inform you of the four types of critical inflation. Second, the impact it has on our lives. And lastly, how to prevent it from affecting us in a huge way. What are the four types of inflation? The following four types of inflation were taken from a website called Four Types of Inflation, Four Most Critical plus 9 More, written by Kim Amadeo, 2017. First, creeping inflation is when prices rise 3% a year or less. The Federal Reserve is in charge of these prices, and their target is a 2% rate. That is their target because it benefits economic growth and it drives expansion. Second, walking inflation. This strong inflation is between 3 to 10% a year. It is harmful to the economy because it can heat up growth too quickly, and people buy more today to avoid high prices tomorrow. Thirdly, galloping inflation is when the inflation rate rises over 10% or more. This wreaks absolute havoc. Money loses value so fast that businesses can't keep up, and foreign countries avoid us, depriving it of much needed capital. This should be prevented at all costs. Lastly, hyperinflation. This is when prices skyrocket, more than 50% a month. This is very rare and only occurs when the government prints a lot of money to pay for a war. Examples such as Germany in 1920s, Zimbabwe in 2000, and the American Civil War. Now that I've told you about the four types of inflation, I will tell you how we can prevent it from affecting you in a huge way. Some ways to prevent it from affecting us in a huge way. Michelle Ullman article names 6 ways to protect yourself from effects of inflation and loss of purchasing power. The way inflation affects us, the average consumer purchasing groceries paid more than people spent eating in. So basically, you save money eating in. As if you were to go out, you would pay more due to the inflation rate. When the interest rate is attractive, you can beat inflation, basically by stacking your money in a savings account or money markets or depositing it to a CD. If you do not have money to invest at this time, you can consider other various investments and different types of savings that can tailor to your needs. Clear examples of inflation is the U.S. in the 1970s. By 1974, the inflation rate had risen to 12% and just peaked 13% by 1979. Making money then was tough. Lisa Smith, Protect Your Portfolio Against Inflation and Deflation, 2010. The wage mandate will make it difficult for Californians to find work. They cut jobs, raising prices, invest more heavily in technology, or leaving the state altogether, reducing employment by a fifth and eliminating approximately 900,000 full-time jobs by 2023 if the minimum wage increases to $15. So first, I told you about the 4 types of inflation and how they affect us. Some different situations of how inflation affected history. And lastly, how we can prevent it from affecting us in a huge way. To conclude, we know inflation will affect us, and there are other precautions we can take to prevent it from affecting us in a huge way. The 4 critical types of inflation, which were walking inflation, creeping inflation, galloping inflation, and hyperinflation. And there are also other options tailored to us to help us save for our retirement. So, as we walk out of class today, let me ask you this question. Would you be ready for retirement the way you want to live it?